Hi everyone, Inge Stoffels from Cape Town, South Africa over here. And South Africa is facing a major housing crisis, and this casts a shadow over the 2024 elections which have taken place this week. Now, after the ANC came into power in 1994, people had hope for a better future. And now, today, 30 years later, while yes, there has been some change in some areas, but we are also still sitting with some of the same issues we've had in the past. Millions of South Africans are still without a decent roof over their heads, and South Africa's severe housing crisis can be partly attributed to rapid urbanization. Now, in 2022, more than 65% of the country's population resided in urban areas. The population of Johannesburg, South Africa's most densely populated city, has surged by nearly 30% since. And while the government has accommodated almost 5 million households in 30 years, delivery has slowed down drastically over the past decade. Now, according to the Department of Human Settlements, the recent decrease was mainly due to budget cuts and the COVID-19 pandemic. Spokesperson Nozipho Zulu said in a statement to The Guardian, "The government will not abandon its citizens, but we fully understand the frustration of those who are yet to be assisted." And this I can actually speak to because my mom, my husband's mother, she has been on the waiting list for 29 years. 29 years she was waiting for a house of her own, a home of her own. And only this past year, last year, 2023, she was approved and able to be settled in her own home, given by the government. Now that's 29 years of waiting. There are some other avenues that people are going to. For example, we have the Sissy Gool House. Now the Sissy Gool House, this was an abandoned hospital. This hospital was abandoned for about 2 years, and then people who have been evicted, people who are seeking shelter, they found themselves coming into the Sissy Gool Hospital. We have Maggie Motemba, aged 57, who moved into the Sissy Gool House 6 years ago. She lives in a small room across from her adult daughter. Then we also have Fahmida Ling, aged 57. She joined the Sissy Gool House 7 years ago after being evicted. Now she says what they are doing with us now is the same as under apartheid. It's just called by the fancy name gentrification. Now, Sissy Gool was a legendary political activist in Cape Town. She helped found the Non-European Unity Movement, and this was a group of black and colored activists who actively campaigned against the country's racist government in the mid-20th century. Now, Mutemba and her neighbors have grown disillusioned with the ANC and the main opposition party, the DA, that runs Cape Town and the Western Cape province. Then Fahmida Ling also says, "We are used to these empty promises. Many people have died on the waiting list. Waiting for a home? On that waiting list, they have died. That is how long it took for them to get a decent roof over their head, for them to get a home of their own." Then urban policy researcher Nick Budlender says, "Policies have not disrupted spatial apartheid." He also says our cities were shaped so that the white minority would live in nice, sparsely populated areas close to jobs, schools, and services. And then the black and colored majority would commute in and out every day to be in service of them. And that structure remains tragically unchanged. So this is where we are at with the SA housing crisis. People that have been on a list for more than 30 years, people that have been on a list for 10 years even, still waiting to get a decent roof over their heads. Let us know your thoughts on this topic in the comment section.